Hello, welcome to my channel. I've lost 180 pounds with keto, carnivore, and counting calories. Thank you for watching. Good morning. I am getting my meal prep ready. Actually, it's kind of twofold. Usually, I do these big old 10-pound, 73% ground beefs. I do them for myself. Well, this coming Friday, we have a potluck at work, and it's for Cinco de Mayo, and I said I would bring the ground beef. And so I have some taco seasoning, and tell you what, with these big things, what I do, I set them in the sink and before I go to bed, and then by morning I pull them out. And let me tell you, they're still partially frozen right in that middle. So, I like it because then I don't have to do a whole bunch of, set a whole bunch of things in my freezer or in the refrigerator, pull them out of the freezer and put them in the refrigerator. So I kind of fillet them like they're a fish. I cut them in half, and then I cut it lengthwise, so that makes it easier to pull them out. Sometimes I do sometimes I do a plastic container in my crock pot, sometimes not. But hang on, let's move over here and I'll show you what I do. So this way I can just hold the corner and pull it right off. And then it goes in there ready to go. And one of the reasons why I said I would do this is because, if I go on and cook it, for one, at the end of the day, Friday, whatever's left over, I can bring home, and it still belongs to me. I'm not just doing this and then giving it away. And also, whatever I decide to not take is part of my meal prep, so I can take it, I can have it for myself. I think I used to be able to get a whole one. I think I used to get 10 pounds in one, but it's really not the easiest for chopping it up. So I'm going to do this today. I'm going to do 1 1/4 in each of these. And I have a little bitty crock pot back here. Hang on. Not little bitty, but a smaller crock pot right there. Gotta use the back of my hands because my hands are gummy. And so I'll put this last one in here. And get rid of this thing. Now. I might just put these little pieces, one in each of these two. So let me get my gloves off and let's get things set up here. I'm going to back you up just a little bit. It is Saturday morning. I have a cousin who I grew up really close to. They used to live about 30 minutes south of here in Scott City. And her and her husband and, her daughter, I'm also close to. And they moved out to California and out to the West Coast. And so they have not been here. My dad, he passed away in 2015, and I think that might be the last time I saw them. So they're coming today. They're coming to town. They have a wedding in town, so we are going to get together. My cousin, I honestly don't know if my cousin brought her little kids. But so my cousin is about 4 years older than me, my first cousin. And then her daughter, Megan, I think I was in 8th or 9th grade when she was born. And so she and I used to sell the makeup together. So, whenever I was selling unique makeup. So we used to sell makeup together. And anyway, so I'm close to both of them. And I'm super excited. They're coming to town. So Mom and I are going to meet them for breakfast at the Cracker Barrel. And at 8 o'clock. And it is 6:47. So I'm kind of, Terry. I'm trying to get everything all set up. So while I'm gone, these are just going to be cooking on low. You know, I won't have to do anything with them. Listen, it's a hot mess over in this corner, and I can't help it. Now ain't the time to be worrying about what's nice and neat. So, let's get these mugs and stuff back. My corner is swarming on me. It's just swarming me. Okay, so I'm going to put... Sorry about that. My alarm went off. I have an alarm set for everything. This is on low. And I just don't want it to be up against any food. So, alright. Alright, so there. Because I keep the dog's green beans over here. You know, I should start putting them over there. I think I'm going to do that. Anyway, no, because I have to drain it, so I need it over here. Anyway, okay. So the little one's already on low. This one is on low, and this one's on low. But I got apples over here. I don't want it to be touching the apples, and I don't want to be cooking apples when I'm not meaning to cook apples. Okay, so typically I come in every hour and I chop it up with my meat chopper. And I just chop, 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 chop. I do that every hour. And typically it takes it about 4 hours to cook. While I'm gone, I won't be able to chop it, so I'll chop it once before I go. And then when I get home, you know, if it's a little meatloafish, it'll be okay. So I just need it to keep cooking. So, like I said, it's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So hopefully I'll be home by 11. If not, it's okay. And then I'll show you what I'm going to do whenever I'm home and how I'm going to get it ready. I bought these packages for the party, for the work potluck. There's 3 carbs in 2 tablespoons. So, but I think I'm reading it's maltodextrine. I don't even know what that is. I think that's, I don't know. What is maltodextrine? I'm not asking Alexa. I ain't got that kind of time. Cornstarch, onion, onion powder. Canola oil, vegetable oil. Sugar. It says adds a trivial amount of sugar. So it's not enough to count as 1 sugar, but we all know if it says 0, it's probably just like 9.99999%. So anyway, yeah. But when I'm done with the meat, I'll put these in, and then I'm going to put it in Ziploc bags in the freezer. So then that way, the morning of, I'll pull them out and put them back in the crock pot. It'll already be cooked, and I'll have pulled up. Oh, the broth. My stars, y'all almost let me forget. Hang on. So the meat's going to make some juice anyway, but I always add water, and I do not season my meat when I cook it because I pour all this water back out for the dogs. And I put it, that's what goes over their food. And I'll skim the fat off like I did last weekend. So like I said, I'm not doing this because I need it. I'm doing it for the party. But what's left over, I still could put some in my freezer. All right, let me get some more water. Hang on. All right, so I'm going to put some more in here. I've got blood down in my kitchen sink, so I'm leaving my water running and letting it heat up so that way I can wash my kitchen sink. Alright, so there we go. That's enough water for now. If I want to add more water, that's fine. I can do that. So, there we go. Those are set up and ready to go. And I'm going to wash out my kitchen sink. And the dogs have been fed. And then I'm going to go get showered so I can get ready to go see my cousin. My cousin. Okay, bye. Just had a great time with the family. And it was my cousin and her husband, my first cousin and her husband, and my cousin's daughter and her husband, and my mom. So we had a good time. We ate at Cracker Barrel. So for breakfast, I got it was a sirloin steak and eggs. And for my sides, it was some sliced strawberries and a sliced tomato. So I had probably about half of the sliced strawberries. And then, and I had some coffee. And there was biscuits and gravy also, but I gave that to my cousin. So anyway, yeah, it was a great time. And that's what I had for breakfast. All right, back to my meal prep. Okay, I put all these in at 7 o'clock this morning, and it is 10:45. So I have not been home to chop it up. And so it's pretty much in the same form as when I put it in here. So now I gotta kind of work at it. Let me set this down somewhere. Hang on. Usually, if I come in every hour before it's cooked very far, you know, once I get that initial chop done, it's a lot easier. But it'll be okay. It'll be okay. So, like I said, my plan is to cook this up, and then I'll pull out the ground beef, and I will freeze it in Ziploc bags. Then the morning of the work event, I will put it back in the crock pot and pour the seasonings over it then. I won't season it now because there's no need to. Plus, whatever's left over, whenever it's done, I'll see how much I want to take to the event. I may not want to take all of it, but this way it's all cooked up and ready if I do. So I had a fun visit. My family. So when I grew up, my parents, we lived in Jackson, and then my grandparents, where both my parents grew up, lived about 30 minutes away. And every Saturday, that's just kind of how family was back then. Every Saturday, we'd go down to one of the grandparents' house, sometimes both grandparents' house, and we'd all visit. Well, this cousin, she was my dad's niece, and so she lived about 5 minutes away from our grandpa, because we shared a grandpa since we're first cousins, and so they would come over, and she and I would play. So she had an older sister and an older brother. By the time I really got to into my formative years, both her sister and brother had moved away or moved out of the house, so they were not there every weekend. But she's, I think she's 4 years older than me. And so anyway, so she was my play buddy whenever I'd go down there to visit. And so she had a daughter, and then her husband, he has a daughter who was getting married this weekend, and so they came into town for the wedding. So it worked out so perfectly. They said there's 4 of them. So it was my first cousin, her husband, my second cousin, her daughter, and her husband. So we ate at Cracker Barrel and had us a nice visit. We were there about 2.5 hours, and we had a really good visit, and it was fun. So I'm sitting here trying to process mentally how I'm going to do this. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop out some of the liquid, maybe? No. I think maybe I'll put all of the ground beef, because this is done. Especially since it's going to be sitting in a crock pot for the party. So I need some big containers. I'm going to be dirtying up several things today. So I think this is how it's going to go down. Let me unplug you and slide you over here and you back here. Okay, I'll just unplug everybody. All right. Just so I can get a good idea of how much meat I have. I'm going to put it out in this container, some of it. I'll start with this. And we will see what we have. So, what I did last weekend, when I was done, I put all the liquid into one of these crock pots and put it in the refrigerator. And then when it got hard enough, I scooped that fatty off the top. And then I put all the fat into the bottom of a big old, I have a cookie, no, not cookie, well, it's a cookie sheet pan. It's a cake pan. It's a full sheet cake pan is the size of it. And so I have one of those. And what I did was I put all the fat in the bottom of it and melted it in the oven. And then I let it freeze. And I've been using that for some extra special dog treats. But anyway, so yeah, it was good. Cracker Barrel is good. You know, you can kind of pick and choose what you want. You can build your breakfast, or you can whatever you want to do. And so that's pretty cool. All right, let me move this one over here out of the way. Watch out. Look out, look out, look out, look out. Look. Quality assurance is underneath my feet right now, so kind of get the gotta move through them. Now you will notice I'm not licking anything. I can't lick the beaters and can't lick anything. Well, I mean there's no beaters with this, but anyway, so this is not for just Terry. So I have to be extra cautious in making sure I follow the right rules. So, and I have another one of these that I'll use here in a second. Once I kind of see how much is going to fit. So when I make my meals, y'all know I weigh things out. My ground beef, I weigh out in weight of after it's cooked. You know, whenever things are, say they're weighed beforehand, I think, you know, they include the fat that's in it. Well, I strain the fat out, and actually, let's face it, it kind of rinses some of the fat off a little bit. But I strain the fat out, and I don't eat that fat. So that's why I feel kind of justified. And when something says 600 calories for 8 ounces or whatever in meat, that's why I don't feel like, oh, am I getting the right amount? Am I not getting the right amount? And whatnot. How am I going to get to this thing? Hold up, people. Here, I'll let you see where I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to get to this right here. So, pull you out. Pull you out. You back. And put you back. Now. Let's see where we're at here. But anyway, so I weigh stuff out, and I weigh my meat out as it's done. And like I said, technically that's not correct, but I don't eat the fat that they're counting in whatever it is I'm eating. So that is why I do it that way. You do what fits your comfort level. I'm not, I can't tell you how to do it. I'm not trying to tell you how to do it. I'm just telling you how I've done it, and what has worked okay for me is by just weighing it after it's cooked. Because all the fat that's down in here is rendered, and I'm leaving a lot of it behind. I'm sure there's some fat in this. Don't get it twisted. I'm sure there's some fat down in there, but definitely not 75%. You know, not all of it's in here. So that's why I don't stress too much about it. Now, that's going to be too hot. Listen, dog, if you don't get out from under my feet, you're going to lose them toes. All right, I'm going to pull this out. I don't know where I'm going to set it. That looks sturdy for a minute. Hold on. Oh, you weren't even seeing what I was doing. Sorry. Alright, so I pulled down this and started putting ground beef in it. And like I said, the dogs, so then I put the outer shell of the crop. Hey, stop it. You're going to burn your tongue. Stop. I put this down on the floor, and that's what Biggin's licking. Quit. I'm firing my quality assurance for the moment. I pulled the gate across. They're going to be not happy, but you know, that's okay. As long as their tongue's still intact, I'm okay with them being not happy with me. I just don't want somebody to lose a tongue. Yeah, I'm just kind of trying to kind of straighten things as I go a little bit where I can. There you go. So, like I said, I'm leaving all as a lot. I would guarantee it's probably 3/4 of the rendered fat behind. So, like I said, it may say 640 calories in a certain amount of meat, but again, they're including, I assume, they're including, they have to be including the fat because 73% ground beef is more calories in an ounce than 93% ground beef. So they have to be including the fat. So maybe when I'm done with this 73% and I drain out all that stuff, maybe it's a little more like 80-20. Maybe it's more like 85-15. Ooh, looky there. I did math on the fly. Who all is surprised? And who all is proud? I did math on the fly. You hear Biggin over there drinking. He's still on a steroid, but he's down to once a day now. His surgery is the 10th, May 10th. I think today is the 29th. I don't know what today is. Hey, my watch will tell me. Yep, it's Saturday the 29th. So anyway, so in 10 days, he will be having at least his first ear surgery if they don't do both ears. I don't know how it all works, but I will find out. My understanding is, you got the ear hole and the area around it, and like here's his, let's say this is the flap of his ear. So here's his ear, and then here's the little ear flap that hangs out. They're going to go, oh, wait, yeah. So, oh, no, the flap goes this way. It covers it. So they're going to go in and take out the ear hole and all the stuff around that, or in that ear. And when it's gone, it's going to be like that. So I think they're going to take the ear and sew it down, and see the palm of this hand. They're going to sew that down, and that's going to close off that hole. So they won't have to graft anything. And so he'll just be left with the part that flops that'll still be there. So this just, instead of it hanging out like this, it's going to be like this, and this will be the part that flops. So very interesting. But he'll do good. He'll be okay. He's a good boy. I'm talking about you, buddy. He'll be good. He'll be good for his surgery, and the amount of pain he will no longer have. I'm so excited. The amount of scratching and everything the poor fella has been through. He's been through a lot with him big old ears. I'll tell you one thing. No more long-eared dogs. I can tell you that much. Now, I'm not saying a short-eared dog can't have the troubles. But this boy. He's my boy, though, and I would not trade him for all the gold in whoever has the gold. For all the gold in wherever, I wouldn't trade him for all their gold. Now, this is what we're going to do. We're going to let's pour this into there. Okay, so there's one. And then let's see if I can pour the little one into there too. Let's see what we can do here. Alright, now I'll do is I'll let this sit. I'll take it over to the kitchen table and let it sit. And when that fat layer gets on the top, or when it gets cool enough that I'm comfortable setting this in my refrigerator, I'll put this in the refrigerator and let that fat cap build up, and I'll scoop it off, and then the broth will be for the dogs for their food. And I'll get back and show you these in a minute, but first I want to got to clean up my workstation. I don't like it all messy dirty. Hang on. Okay, I've washed out the 2 of the crock pots, and I got the one in the refrigerator. Now what I want to do is I want to get the meat together in Ziploc bags, so that way come the day, all I have to do is drop it and the seasonings in. I'm going to do 2 different bags, or 2 different kinds when we do it. I'll have one that is seasoned and one that is not seasoned. I don't want to overstuff them because I don't want them to leak or break or something. So maybe I'll do, I don't know, there's a lot of people, and so like I said, I would rather, my nurse was like, I think that's too much meat. Well, maybe it is, but whatever's left over, I'm taking the crock pot home. So whatever's left over, I'll be putting in my meal prep on Saturday. So next Saturday, no, so this lunch is Friday, and then that afternoon, whatever's left, I will bring back home in a crock pot, and I will put that in containers for me for like I said, for my meal prep next weekend. So this really is for the event, and then whatever's left over, I'll put in containers next weekend. All right, so there's 2. So this morning, when I was getting ready, I was getting excited, so I did not want coffee. So what I did was I took hot water and put in this container, and I put some of my chocolate electrolytes, and I put a little smidge of French vanilla flavoring, and and I was drinking around on it, just something to entertain my brain and belly before I left. And so then when I left, I put it in the refrigerator. So right now, it's like I'm drinking cold chocolate milk. I mean, it's not exactly, because it's not milk, but it's good. It tastes really good. And I am just sipping around on it because I stuck it in the refrigerator when I left. So I'm going to pour this into that crock pot in the fridge. Hang on. Okay. Now, let's get on to this one. So, I don't know about you all and where you live, but like I said, I was born in 72. So a lot of my formative years were in the late 70s, early 80s. You know, of course, we didn't have cell phones and things like that. Kids didn't have the internet. So when we'd go down to my grandpa's house, so my grandmother died when I was 1, so I never knew her. But he remarried pretty quickly after she passed away. And so we would go down to visit every Saturday. And this would be my dad's dad. And so it was an old house. You know, they didn't have a lot of money. So their house, it was an old house. And I think my grandpa built it. And I think my dad helped put a cellar in the basement. So it was one of those kind of houses. And when we would go, you know, there were no kids' toys there because, you know, they had sent it all off to with my dad and his sisters when they moved away. And so we had to kind of find our own fun stuff to do. Well, sometimes my parents would take us to my cousin's house, who I was with today. And sometimes they'd take us kids over there and we get to play. And they had horses and dogs and cats, so I was always happy playing with those. But whenever we were at my grandpa's house, he lived by the railroad tracks. You know that movie Stand By Me, and those boys were walking along the train tracks. Well, literally the train tracks was maybe less than a block away, that kind of a distance from his house. So like an eighth of a mile, I'll guesstimate. And well, it was like across the road and across the lot that was over there. So anyway, so we would go as kids, we would go walk along the train tracks, and we'd look for hunks of metal, and we would find things like railroad spikes that had come out. We would find just like the plates that would go over the rail car, the railroad track, and then there would be nails in them. We would find sometimes those, like if they had repaired something and they just left it off to the side of the train on the hill. So we would walk along there and we'd find metal and we'd find rocks and we'd find stuff that we, as kids, we thought were treasures. And then we'd take them home or take them take them to Grandpa's house and play with it there. And at that age, that era, we had to have an active imagination. We could not, because we weren't really, kids didn't play in the house much when they were, at certain houses, at certain places. Like in my own house, in the summertime, if it was nice, I was either in the basement playing Barbies or was sent outside to play. And so in the 70s and 80s, you'd ride your bicycle all over town. There wasn't any people in where I lived. There was nobody kidnapping kids or killing kids or anything like there is now. And so as kids, we just kind of made our own fun. We'd terrorize the neighborhood, and I say that lovingly, like we weren't mean to the neighbors or anything, but we'd ride our bikes and go visit other neighbor kids and play in each other's backyards. And somebody had a hose out in their backyard, we'd stop and go turn their hose on, not even tell the people, we'd go turn their hose on and get a drink. So, that's just the way it was. It was a small town, and everybody knew everybody. My dad was a teacher, so he had pretty much taught. If he didn't teach somebody's kid, he taught their brother or their sibling or something. So, or their kid, but anyway, so being small town, so back then we had to just make our own excitement. We had to make our own entertainment. We didn't, the kids shows was only Saturday morning. During the week, there was some like after school, but there was no what's that channel? There was no Nickelodeon. There was no Cartoon Network. There was none of that back then. So we just had to do what we had to do to entertain ourselves, and that was usually terrorize the neighborhood and ride our bikes and do whatever, or we go looking for crawdads down in the creek, or go fishing in the local pond, the city lake. We just kind of did stuff like that. So what I'm doing right now is I have 4 quality assurances, and I'm going to put this one, this, and this other thing on the floor, and I'm going to let them clean these for me. So I'll be right back. There you go. See? He's got a big bowl. She's got a big thing, and these two have the lids. Put your paw on it, little boy. Here. There you go. He doesn't know to put his paw on it, so he's going to lick it across the room. I'm trying to help him out. Oh, you can't see. I'm trying to help him out by putting here, I'll hold it. There you go. Okay, and you can see them two are still looking their big things. I think you bought it all. Yep. So these didn't have much, but those, and they slide so much. Now those two are still licking on theirs. Hopefully there won't be any arguments about it. And don't worry, after they're done licking, it all goes into my dishwasher to be disinfected. I would never just let them clean it and not wash it. I just do that because now they're getting the hard bits that are stuck in there out. And then I put them in the dishwasher and it can disinfect them all. Because, yeah. Anyway, so, all right, let's see what's next. So for the record, I could fit more in there. But in order to keep this going, I don't have anything dirty to wash. So, but I need space because whenever the other crock pot's ready, I want to be able to put that in there. So I typically run my dishwasher twice in the weekend. At least twice on Saturdays. Then I got to spin it to make sure. Uh-oh, it's hitting something. Hang on. Okay, so that can't stick up. So let's see how that works. What are you hitting? Oh. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. So, come on, fella. Okay. Now, these bags over here, I will, let's see, I washed this off already. I'm going to, here's the marker. I'm going to put GB, so I know, so I don't forget. GB, 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 and GB. All right, so I'm gonna get these in the freezer because then what I do is I think Wednesday night I'll pull them out so that way they've had a little time to defrost before Friday morning, and then Friday morning I'll put them in the crock pot and take them to work. So let me put these in the freezer. Hang on. I use these wipes for everything and I love them, but when they get to the last bit of them, they get they're so sopping wet that they kind of stick to each other and they don't come out as good as they should. So I always kind of unroll them all the way once, and that way I can stick them back in there. Anyway, I love these things. They just get everything off. They got that good bleach water and wipe the countertops off, get everything clean, and any meat that's splattered out in any kind of way, I got that. So the meal prep portion, we have one more thing, and that's going to be egg casserole. I have 3 days worth left, so we are going to make my egg casserole. So hold on. Part of meal prep is also not necessarily cutting things, but making sure you have the things that you need. So for my salad, I just pulled this out of the freezer. This is frozen peppers, and I'm going to put it into my refrigerator because we know I like that on my salads. And I've got some frozen onions. Those are some red onions that I cut up. So I'm going to put those in my refrigerator so they can defrost, and I'll be able to use that this week. And a cubed jicama. So these are all things that I'll put in my refrigerator, and I'll be able to use this week for my salads. So previous week I cut all this stuff up, so now I'm pulling it out and putting it in my refrigerator, so that way I kind of have what I need for this upcoming week. Told y'all I melted down that fat last time, and that's what it looks like. I just put it in here, and this is what I do. Pull out 4 of them. Hang on, I'll show you the 4. 1, 2, 3. About the same size. I pull out 4. And Lou, Sammy. I have to watch Baby Shark. I can't just, he'll get my fingers. And there's Callie. And there we go. That's how I use use the pork and beef fat. So whenever the other is done solidifying, I can pull it out and make some more of this. And then if I get to the bottom, it's all just pieces. I'll just remelt it, I bet. I don't know for sure, but that's what I think I'll do. editing Terry here. The video was too long, so I had to split it up and divide out the egg stuff. So, okay, have a good day. That's the end of the video.